In this Star Wars Jedi Survivor news update video, I will be sharing with you the patch notes of patch 10, which has just released. Before we do dive into that and even more news about Jedi Survivor, make sure you do subscribe to this channel so you won't miss any future news updates on the game. So, it is the beginning of 2025, and this might be the year that the third Jedi game, the ending of this trilogy, will be revealed, and let's just quickly go over why. So it has almost been 2 years since Jedi Survivor came out, which is insane to think about, to be honest. Jedi Survivor was announced a little over 2 years after the release of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and Survivor took a little over 3 years to develop, and that was during peak COVID, so it was made completely from home. Following that trajectory, we should expect to see Star Wars Jedi 3, the sequel to Jedi Survivor, and the ending of this incredible trilogy to be revealed at some point this year, potentially as early as April, because that is when Star Wars Celebration is taking place. It's happening in Japan this time, and that is when Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order got its big reveal. It is also the event which Star Wars Jedi Survivor was announced. So to me it makes perfect sense for the third game to be announced, even though we know it's actually in development, but the title, for example, and a general release year of the game to be happening in April of this year. The game won't release this year, but it could come out next year. That's just speculation based on the development of Jedi Survivor. But Respawn have not finished with Jedi Survivor just yet. They have released patch 10 for the game this week. The reason why it's not a surprise is that they did acknowledge that there were some issues with the PS5 Pro version of the game. It was a launch updated title for the PS5 Pro featuring improved fidelity and performance. However, it did actually come with some major glaring issues which should have been found out before it was released. It's insane that it released in that state. There were so many people, including many of my viewers, very unhappy with the release of Jedi Survivor on PS5 Pro. Last night, Respawn did release a new patch for Star Wars Jedi Survivor, patch 10, and this is targeting fixing various issues with the game on PS5 Pro. We do have the patch notes which they shared with us, and it says this update is to address a few specific issues on the PS5 Pro. So they have updated to the latest PSSR version, which many of us did suspect was an issue. So they are now running Sony's latest iteration of PSSR. They have also reduced foliage flickering, which was one of the main issues, if not the most glaring of issues, with the PS5 Pro version of Jedi Survivor. However, it's not gone completely, more on that in just a moment. They've also improved the reflection visuals on the Kobo River, which continues to be a major issue for some reason, both in performance and graphics, even nearly 2 years after release on a brand new console, which is crazy. And they've also reduced flickering in volumetric fog, which is nice to see because there are some really nice scenes in the game that benefit from that volumetric fog, and the flickering there has been reduced. I'm not 100% sure if that has been completely fixed, but what hasn't been completely fixed is the foliage flickering. So Lee, who is a subscriber of mine who has been continuously giving updates on the PS5 Pro versions of Star Wars games, did share with me that there is still foliage flickering even after updating to the latest patch. It is nowhere near as bad as it was before, however, it's still there and annoying to look at just when playing the game. I don't think this is ever going to be fixed, to be honest, at this point. I think, from what I've gathered online, most people are satisfied, even though it's clear that it still is having issues. Will they patch it again? I don't know, I'm not sure, but like I said, if people continue to complain, and perhaps maybe more issues do arise, then I think they will have to release a new patch. So Jedi Survivor did release on the PS5 Pro after a couple of rumours here and there that it would get an update for the PS5 Pro. But some people may not know that there has been similar talk of Jedi Survivor coming to the Switch too, and to add to this, a journalist who does do some writing for GI.biz, who is a very reputable outlet here in the UK that covers all of the business side of the games industry, and a very, very good outlet, he said on his own personal Twitter account that there is a Switch 2 game coming, and it's Star Wars Jedi Survivor. It will be on the Switch 2. Now, he said he has heard this from industry people, very vague and he can't actually show any specific evidence. But it doesn't make any sense why someone who doesn't talk about Star Wars games and such would just make something up and post it on their Twitter account like so. Like I've said, there has been a few rumours here and there, nothing super credible in the past, that maybe, just maybe, it would come to the Switch 2, and an idea that many people have had is that one of the reasons why they did that last-gen version of Jedi Survivor for the Xbox One and PS4 was to have a version ready to go for the Switch 2 effectively, because doing all that work means they're going to probably be able to get it on the Switch 2. Makes a ton of sense, and having a Star Wars game, a AAA Star Wars game on the Switch 2, being probably the only one on there, will be a big deal for EA and Respawn. I'm going to go out and say that they will do both games, both Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor, either in a double pack or separately, because Fallen Order, of course, was a previous gen title anyway. It would not make sense just to have Jedi Survivor on there and not the prequel, which some people argue is a better game in terms of the story, and the story is such a big part of these games, less so than the gameplay to a lot of people. We could see this year both Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor make its way over to the Switch 2, which would be very interesting. Having them on a Nintendo console would be very cool and opens the doors up to a whole new audience. Yesterday, the Switch 2 was officially announced and revealed by Nintendo. We won't probably know much more about it until April 2nd. That's when Nintendo are having their event. If they are going to show off some big third-party titles coming in 2025 to the Switch 2, we could potentially see EA show up there with Jedi Survivor, Fallen Order as well, but maybe not. Maybe they will just announce it on their own terms, like they did with the last-gen version, through an earnings call with investors. I would not put it past them, because why would they want to spend money on promoting something like this when they could just say it and the news will do its own thing? Like, I was one of the only people continuously reporting on the last-gen version. They literally didn't say anything for like a year and then announced it was coming out like a month later. And also the last-gen version did not sell entirely well, at least based on what we know. However, Jedi Survivor was actually one of the best-selling games in Europe last year. It outsold Star Wars Outlaws, which was a brand new release, so it's clear that even though Jedi Survivor is now almost 2 years old, it's actually still selling plenty of copies over time, much like Fallen Order did, which actually sold more copies in its second year than its first year, which is very interesting and very unusual for games. Now on to some merchandise relating to Jedi Survivor, and it's some good news for a group of people that have been very vocal in the comments of my videos and on social media. Marin is finally getting her very own Black Series figure. Yes, that is right, and it's come through a leak, so it's not official just yet, but as you can see, clearly this is Marin's jacket from Star Wars Jedi Survivor. This is coming from 501st Set, who is basically this guy that's just leaking Black Series figures all the time. They've all come to fruition, basically, and he had Marin's trousers and jacket right here from Jedi Survivor, which is great because I know so many people have been asking for a Marin figure for so long. I don't understand why it's taken this long, because she is such an integral character to this franchise. She's very popular, she's well liked, as opposed to just continuously releasing more battle droids from the Jedi games or stormtroopers. And to go with it, there appears to be a brand new Cal Kestis figure as well from Jedi Survivor coming out. So you can see here that he's wearing that shirt that you can wear if you take off his jacket in the game. I'm not sure why they would do this. I mean, it seems kind of pointless, right? It's stupid. They could have done any of the other cosmetics in the game, which would have worked so well. There are some really cool ones that people love to use, but no, it seems like they've literally just gone for removing his jacket. And if I had to guess, these will be coming in a double pack, Marin and Cal, and that is going to sell exceptionally well, that's for sure. Even if people have a Cal figure, like I have the standard Jedi Survivor Cal figure, but if you want that Marin figure, you're going to have to probably buy this double pack. That said, they may do her on a standalone later or earlier. We have seen that with Dagon. Dagon got his own standalone release, and then he also got the double pack, which is coming out in June, and that is with a BX Commando droid. So if I had to guess, we won't be getting this Cal and Marin double pack for quite some time, until sort of late this year, I should say, because, like I said, Dagon and the BX Commando double pack was announced at the end of last year, and it's coming out in June, so that's sort of the timelines we're working with here. It could be quite some time yet. I'd love to hear your thoughts on anything I've talked about in this video, so please do let me know down in the comment section below, and remember to drop a like to help support the channel. Subscribe so you don't miss any future Star Wars Jedi Survivor videos, and if you did miss any of my previous videos, click on the playlist on screen right now, and I shall see you in my next video. Goodbye.